That fight over carbon tax is far from the government's only battle. It's arguing in the High Court over its so-called Malaysia solution, which remains in limbo tonight. Late today, the court extended an injunction preventing the removal of more than 300 asylum seekers from Christmas Island to Malaysia. The full bench is reserving its decision on the policy's legality until next Wednesday. National Affairs correspondent Heather Hewitt joins us now from Canberra. Heather, take us through what happened.
Well, without putting you through all the detail, because it was a day of long and pretty complex legal argument, the courtroom was packed by High Court standards. Everyone there knew there was a lot riding on this for both sides. And in essence, lawyers representing the asylum seekers argued that the government has breached its international obligations under the Migration Act and the Refugee Convention by seeking to send these latest boat arrivals off to Malaysia, and that it intervenes with their fundamental human rights. The Commonwealth, of course, disagrees with this, and it basically cited the Howard government's Pacific solution to claim that what it was doing was legal, which was an interesting twist through the day. What's happening here is that human rights lawyers are basically testing the waters on behalf of two Afghans, one unaccompanied minor and another man who says he fears persecution because of his religion. And the outcome is really going to flow on to all of the other recent boat arrivals on Christmas Island, and they now have a 1-week reprieve at least until the court does give its judgment next week. So let's hear briefly now from David Mann, the lawyer who brought the case on.
They're petrified. They're very anxious. They're petrified. I've spoken with them, and they're awaiting the outcome of this situation, where they have very substantial fears about being expelled to Malaysia.
Heather, what about the case of the unaccompanied minors?
Look, that I think is really what's going to be crucial in whatever the court decides. There are these two central themes. There's the breach of the Migration Act argument, but also whether the Immigration Minister, Chris Bowen, has failed in his duty of guardianship of unaccompanied minors. Of the 340 asylum seekers, I think, who have just arrived on Christmas Island, at least 30 are claiming to be unaccompanied minors. And the government is, of course, pretty worried that more could now be on the way because of what's going on in the High Court. And also, I guess that the judgment might only go part way in its favour. And that's certainly what some seasoned observers in the courtroom are starting to wonder too.
Could mean that a decision from the High Court next week could see the Commonwealth, for example, win on the Migration Act issue. In other words, that there is a right to send persons offshore for processing, but that the Minister has obligations with respect to unaccompanied minors, which would see the Minister have an obligation to process those persons onshore. So you could end up for a win for the Commonwealth and a loss for the Commonwealth, and this differential issue arising.
And if that's what does happen here, that's of course a very big problem for the government, because you will have more boats with unaccompanied minors headed for Christmas Island. There have already been 5. And there would be knock-on effects as well for the PNG solution on Manus Island, and even the opposition pushing Nauru as a solution. So everyone's going to be watching this very closely.
Heather Hewitt, thank you.